Upsets, and more upsets in Serie A Round 2. What's up and welcome to the Calcio Cafe. I'm your friend D'Amico, and this week we had our usual suspects getting wins as well as a couple crazy upsets. To start out, Milan won 4-1 over Torino, and Milan has looked the best out of any of the big teams so far this year. Against Torino, they were able to get a brace by Olivier Giroud. Christian Pulisic also scored a goal, as well as Theo Hernandez. They've looked the best so far. Christian Pulisic definitely looks like the real deal, and if Olivier Giroud can keep scoring, then they'll keep winning. So far, they're at the top of the table and the early favorite for the Scudetto. Napoli also took care of Sassuolo this week by goals by who else but Osimhen and Di Lorenzo. These two have just been leading this team for the past year and a half now and are showing they're going to be strong this year to defend their title. Inter Milan also brushed aside Cagliari, 2-0, goals by Dumfries and a wonderful goal by Lautaro with quick footwork and a quick shot. We also saw some normal Serie A results with Monza winning 2-0 against Empoli. Colpani looks like the real deal. I mean, Monza re-signed him this past summer to a long-year deal, knowing that he could take a step this year, and so far he has a brace against Empoli. And to be honest, Empoli does not look good this year. They lost Vicario, and they're definitely going to be fighting in the relegation battle. Salernitana and Udinese also played out a 1-1 draw. Dia on the score sheet for Salernitana, and Samardic, who was almost an Inter player, but now he's still with Udinese, also scores. Fiorentina and Lecce also played out a 2-2 draw. Now, this won't be the first time I'm saying this, but this is a Banda fan account. I love watching him play. Him and Strefezza for Lecce are so fun to watch. It's been fun to watch them the past year and a half, and it's really cool to see them get out to a decent start to Serie A. Win last week over Lazio, and now a draw against Fiorentina. Great start for Lecce. And then there was some interesting score lines, like Juventus drawing 1-1 with Bologna. Luis Ferguson, our favorite Scot, scores for Bologna, and Vlahovic gets one back in the 80th minute for Juventus to come back and get a point. Thiago Motta did a great job with Bologna, keeping them with their tactics, with their game plan, and getting a really big point for them early in the season on the road at Juventus. I don't think it's a big deal for Juve, though, as they will bounce back. It's only a draw early on in the season, and they'll get their legs once we get really into it with Vlahovic and Chiesa and getting that midfield and defense all on the same page. I think they'll be strong come mid-season. And now for the upsets. And crazy enough, every one of these games had to do with a team either in Rome or in the Lazio region. First, Verona take out Roma 2-1. Verona take advantage of a Rui Patricio error and score beautifully on a counterattack to sink the Romans. Roma have not looked good this year, and it looks like Rui Patricio's best year as an older goalkeeper might have been last year, because this year he hasn't been good through 2 games, and I'm not sure if they can qualify and finish in top 4 with him in net. Verona did a great job of sticking with the game plan, getting up, and really not letting Roma have too many chances, not letting them really play the ball. There was a portion of this game where both sides were just kind of like sending it up, getting a foul, playing that free kick, and the other team sends it up. Now there's another foul, playing that free kick. So Verona wanted it to be this ugly game, and they got it. The only team in Rome that's probably worse than Roma so far has been Lazio. The team that finished second last year has started the year with 2 straight losses. And they weren't even good losses. First, they blew a lead against Lecce, and now they couldn't score a goal against Genoa. Similar to the Roma goal, this time the Lazio goalkeeper Provedel spilled it right to Retegui, and he was there to just finish it off. What a signing he has been so far. I think it was 12 million for him. Scored a couple times in the Coppa Italia. Gets off to a great start here in Serie A. Really looking to see what he does the rest of the year. Great start to the season for Genoa, their first season back in Serie A, and a bad start of the season for Lazio, who are now without any points through 2 rounds. And the first game of the weekend was probably the biggest upset as newly promoted Frosinone took out Atalanta. I was just saying last week how I thought Atalanta was going to be competing for top 4, competing for the Scudetto, but you really can't be competing for the Scudetto if you're dropping points against a newly promoted side like Frosinone. It is still early in the season, but all 3 of these teams, Lazio, Roma, and Atalanta, with 3 big hiccups in the second round of the season, we always get to the end of the year and we say, hey, you know what, where did we miss out on points? Every team is like, where did we miss out on points? You might have to come back to the front of the season to notice, hey, first couple rounds, we dropped points. So now 2 newly promoted teams got their first win of the season here in round 2. And let's take a look on the table so far through 2 rounds. Milan is out front and they look like the early Scudetto favorites. It's only through 2 rounds, but it seems like their transfers so far through 2 rounds have showed up and showed that they were worth it, while some of the other teams' transfers are still getting their legs. And how about Verona? Sitting at the top tied with 2 wins. Inter, they were going to be strong. No goals through 2 rounds given up. That's a good start to the season. And defending champs Napoli also start out with 2 wins. I think these front 3 of Milan, Napoli, and Inter might be competing all year for that Scudetto. Now, it's way, way too early to look at relegation, but let's do it anyway. Lazio, Empoli, Sassuolo. Out of those 3, I probably think Empoli will probably stay down there. Lazio will get out. Sassuolo will always have a good run mid-season where they upset a couple teams in a row, get a string of results, and get out of the basement. What did you think of this round? Were you thinking that there was going to be upsets? And what upsets do you think are going to come next week? Could Copani and Monza take out Atalanta? Or maybe Empoli gets their first win of the year against Juventus? There is 2 matchups this upcoming weekend that are going to be really important. Again, Roma and Lazio. Roma with 1 point, Lazio with no points through 2 rounds. They both have tough matchups this weekend as Roma play Milan and Lazio play Napoli. Out of these 2 matchups, I do think Roma have the slight advantage being at home. It's going to be a sellout. Jose Mourinho, I don't think is there yet. He's been suspended, but after the slow start, that Roman crowd is going to be really loud and going to bring life into that squad in a really must-win situation for them, or at least to get a draw. You don't want to start the season 3 rounds with 1 point, especially against 2 teams that you probably should have beaten. As for Napoli and Lazio, Napoli are hosting. Cavaradonna is back, and I don't know. I don't know if Lazio can pull this off. I think Napoli will be a little bit too strong and get the result. With a couple days left in the transfer market, in the Mercato, is there anything you want to see out of the last couple of days? Recently, there's been Lukaku to Roma. I think that really helps them. Is there a certain transfer target you want your team to sign within the last couple of days here of the summer transfer window? Well, thanks for spending some time with me. We'll see you next week. Ciao.